Okay, because of this strategy and looking at this analysis, I was able to pick this perfect area. Price is moving in our direction. We're up about 2,000 now, and we're going to trend follow this for the rest of the day. But this is how we're able to quantify risk and then let these trades sort of play out. All right, so right now it's around 8:30. I'm usually waking up around this time so that I have enough time to grab a coffee and be able to see what's going on with the markets before I get into my session. Okay, most of you guys know that I'm a day trader, so what I'm looking to do is find out generally where I think the market's going to move for the day, or at least get an idea of it. That way, when I get to actually trading, I can find smaller opportunities throughout the day to be able to make those profits. Yeah, I have a lot of things going on today. Meeting with Iman Ghazi's team at 11. I'm not sure if he's gonna be there, if it's just his team, but we're working with the WAP development team. And then I'm gonna be meeting up with the founder of a project that I'm invested in here in the city. And throughout this process, my goal is to be able to hit that $4,000 in profit mark for my day trading. So right here, I've been doing my analysis this morning, and based off of my analysis, I'm going to be watching very closely this upper level. I think the market's going to continue moving up today. Additionally, in our Discord, we have our daily bias that our head trader here puts out every morning in the bullish direction. So we got our overall idea. I'm going to finish getting set up, and then we're going to hop into our session and start our day. So before we hop into any trades, I want to make sure that my desk is set up properly. Over here on the left, I have my trading view on a 1-minute time frame. This is where I'm going to be doing all of my analysis to get into individual trades. Right here is where I'm actually going to be placing my physical trades. And then down here is where I'm going to be journaling each trade that I take, as well as following my daily checklist in my pre-session checklist, which is what we're in right now. So I can click into this box and sort of follow my setup procedure for the day. So first thing I'm going to do is check for important news. Now on my monitors, I have it on the other side. So we can see I checked this box right here for high important. So we do have some important things happening this morning. So we should expect a bumpier ride than usual. Some data coming out this morning. Next thing I'm going to do is set up my tools, which we're doing right now. And then I'm going to build my watch list. So right here, today I'm going to be focusing on Solana, Ethereum, and Atom as my main trade vehicles. These tend to have the best volume for my patterns, and I'm just going to stay focused on these current pairs. What I'm doing trading strategy wise is looking for a few things. What I'm trying to do is find when trends break, enter at key levels, contain my risk, and then let the winners be open-ended. Any of the publicly available tools and indicators that I talk about in this video, okay, you can get access by just going in the description, follow me on Instagram, DM me the word tools, and I'll send you over access to be able to add a lot of this stuff to your chart. Okay, so right now it's about 9 o'clock. I'm going to be sort of scanning and looking for my first setup. And when I find something, I'll show you the setup and we'll get into trade number 1. So we had the melt off in the morning happen. We got short position here on this underside level into this sort of red block, which is something called a fair value gap. It leaves sort of an area that price tends to revert into before making the continuation into the direction it's moving if it's going to continue. So I basically set up my risk so that if it passes up to this line, I'm going to get out for a contained $500 risk. But now I'm waiting to see if this can flip down and come back underneath this level, where then I will reduce my risk and sort of play the trend out and let this sort of go. I'm looking at a few other things to be able to dictate why I'm entering that, in order to be fair, I can't show on YouTube, but still this is the general concept. So let's see if we can get a flip. Okay, starting to get a move down in our direction. You can see because we risked our $500, now it's coming down. We're up 833, almost 900. And that's sort of how this process works. This could have came up and stopped us out for that contained risk, and it still may. But what I want to do now is basically look for this low level to be broken. And then as soon as that low level is broken, it's going to confirm to me that the trend is going to continue moving down. So I'm going to reduce my risk to a break-even level so that it's either I make a lot of money on the trade and the profit goes full, or it stops me out for no gain and no loss. Over time, if you can get into good areas in the market, generally speaking, you can make more when you're right than you lose when you're wrong, so long as you're containing in positioning size. And that's how professional traders do this. They're not just, getting in where they think. It's all based off of probability and strategy and math. So that's sort of the approach that I'm taking here. We're up 1200 now, starting to move nicely in our direction. I don't plan to have this just come perfectly down to my take profit. What I am going to do is let this this go to 4x the amount that I'm risking, which is basically just at the risk reduction level for this position. So I'm hoping this continues to push down. But then at that point, I'm gonna start trailing my stop loss into the position, which basically means I'm locking in profit as the position continues to move down. So I'm looking for two levels here. One is that break even level, and then the next is just this level to trigger locking my stop loss into profit. Now, I'm expecting the markets to be a little bit volatile still. We also have this massive area, which will probably catch some support down here. So I do want to at least start to reduce risk. I'm hoping that this level can clear and break, not just sweep. So typically what I'm doing is when I get a candle to close below this level, I'm going to reduce risk. But this is so far from my entry. We're already up $1,500 on the first position. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to keep that level of importance, but I am going to move my stop loss down to break even. So that's what the position is going to look like. So all the risks off the table, position is just moving. And if it continues to trend down, then it continues to trend down. So risk is reduced down to 0. Looks like we're getting a little bit of momentum off of that level, which is exactly why I wanted to reduce risk in case this whiplashes. We're still going to get some volatility at this point in the day. So right here, it looks like price is flipping and it's producing a few other critical levels that we can actually take into our bias if this does want to stop us out. So I'm okay with whatever happens here. I'm still going to let this position ride itself out. We have our risk reduced, so we can't lose any money on this trade if it is to come up. I'm just hoping that we're able to potentially get into a long if this is going to flip us. Still waiting on this trade. Price coming up to our entry. Looks like we are going to have to get out for break even. It looks like it. We don't know. This could flip still, but looks like it's going to be a break even trade. This would have been a nice trade to get into if we weren't already short. That is a little bit of a trade-off, passing off opportunities that we could have been long right here as well. I'm going to cook up some breakfast right now while we're finishing this out. And today I got a call with Iman's team, so we're going to hop onto that at 11, and we'll be looking for trade number 2 once this wraps up. We're actually getting a push down now, so we'll see if it continues. All right, so came up and retested our entry. We almost got a nice little break under that low. We were up at pretty good amount at one point, but break even trade to start off the day. So I'm gonna go ahead and journal this as my first trade. That way we can keep it nice and organized. Now I'm just gonna wait for the market to develop a little bit more while I'm working, and we're gonna find trade number 2 here in just a second. Looking at what developed with this chart when we were in our other position, it's frustrating because I had a feeling that this was going to be in the direction of where we thought the market was gonna move for the rest of the day. And this was really a textbook opportunity for me that I really didn't take because I was already in another position, but this would have already been 6.5x what I was risking, which would be a little over $3,000 in profit. So a bit frustrating that I missed out on that move just because it was textbook, and that would have put us up almost at our daily goal already at 10:30 in the morning. But I'm just going to continue to let the market develop. We got our call in about 30 minutes. That's just sometimes the name of the game with trading, is you're going to miss opportunities. It's going to be something that seems so obvious it plays out in your favor, and you just got to basically understand that that's part of the game. You can only do what you're going to do. Try to follow your systems the best as possible, and at the end of the day, you're going to win some, you're going to lose some. The goal is to keep a positive mindset and continue to follow your strategy as tight as you possibly can. So that's what I'm going to continue to do into today, and I have a feeling that we're going to be able to have a good trading session today. So right now I'm just waiting for another change in the market. We have ETH moving, obviously very similar to Solana, just sort of pushing up pretty significantly for the day. Nice little opportunity there on ETH as well, but it's going to look for, swing in direction, try to take a position on this for trade number 2, and we'll see when it presents itself. All right, so we just had our big push up off of this move, and now we're starting to break back underneath this critical level here. Okay, we do have some indication of some sell side momentum here, so I'm looking for another entry right in this zone, see if we can catch into this break and then continue breaking down. Thing is, we're trading on such a tight range. Obviously I want to move in the direction of the market to catch these big moves, but when a really good setup happens, which we're seeing right here, I want to make sure that I'm still exposing myself to potentially getting into that trade. So we're going to see if this can come up, fill me into that, and then have a crackdown into the session here. So on this trade, we definitely got our technical response. You'll see we got resistance here, resistance off of this previous level. Now we're just about breaking down underneath this critical level. Now this is me kind of anticipating where I think things could go, right? So I want to take an entry, hoping this eventually breaks. And if this whole trend breaks to the downside, we could definitely get a nice move making money when the market moves down. A lot of people don't know that you can make money with the market moving down. Obviously, I wanted to play into the daily bias, but I keep finding good setups on both sides of these sort of swings in the markets. So I'm going to go for the setups when I see see them. All right, starting to get a breakdown underneath this level. We just need this candle to close below this low. I just want to get one more solid push within the next 10 seconds. Hopefully we can get it. Considering I'm fighting an uptrend here, I'm going to go ahead and reduce my risk down to break even again. We didn't break a lot below this level, but I don't want to let this start to push a new high. I want to see some weakness off here. So I'm reducing my risk again to break even, playing a little bit of defense here. I want to make sure that I'm not taking a loss unnecessarily. Right now we're up about $700 on this trade. I'm going to see if this low can break. I'm going to sort of step away and let this trade sort of develop, and hopefully we can get a big move down and a big move into our direction. Break even trade number 2 is starting to get more momentum. So I'm going to watch for an opportunity. In the meantime, I'm going to log this in real quick, and then we're going to look for trade opportunity number 3, keeping our risk contained, which is what we want to do as a day trader. And this is what I'm focusing on. So far so good, even though it's not working in our direction. So really what I was waiting for is for this trend level to break. We got a rejection off of here and then up into this fair value gap. I wanted to sort of tap into that resistance level up here into the midpoint on the underside retest. So oftentimes when price will bounce off of a trend level a few times, it'll come up and test it again and then have a reaction off of it. So I did take a position, and because of that, I was able to snipe this position, get in beautifully right here, just to sort of show you the power of picking those perfect levels. And now we're getting a sort of break to the downside. So because we were able to pick that level perfectly, we're up about $1,500. I'm going to go ahead and reduce risk down to break even. And all I'm going to do is really trend follow this down for the rest of the session and see if we can get a really, really nice juicy move. So what I'm seeing now with price is we're sort of coiling up, down, and we're kind of going inside this funnel. So it's either price is to break this level and probably retest it and go to the upside, or we're going to break this level, test it, and then break to the downside. So I'm kind of being patient with this one. I want to let it breathe a little bit. We're up about $1,800 again on this position. So obviously the goal is to get this to break down underneath this level. So hopefully we can pull that off and see that to happen. But what I'm doing now is reducing my position over this swing high level. If we are to break and make a new high, I'm not really interested in staying in this trade. So now we've locked in about 1 unit of risk, which in my book is 500. So now it's basically we make 500 or we make a lot more in this trade. Let's see what happens. All right, so I just got out of that position for about $500, locked in 1 risk factor. So now I'm going to see if this can break out of this upper level and if we can actually take a long into this move if we get momentum. All right, so just got filled on a position here, is waiting for one of these levels to break. See where price was testing this same level. We finally broke underneath it, left behind this area. So I wanted to be able to tag into that retest. You can see we're up about 500 on this position already. Now I'm looking for price to basically melt off, and I'm going to look to target realistically any of this area here and just sort of walk my stop into profit. I'm trying to be patient and let these trades breathe. Hopefully this is a good one. Getting a nice push now on Sol. I'm looking for these levels to break. If we can break underneath here, this is going to be a big move. And I love that we got that perfect response. We got a perfect entry signal and underside retest. These are my favorite setups. We're up about $900 right now, looking to get a really good push. I do have my meeting right now, so I'm kind of deferring lunch into a little bit later. I'm eating pretzels, but we're going to let this trade run. I'm going to hop in my meeting. We're going to see if we can take another leg down, how much we can make on this trade. All right, got a big push in price action. I'm just gonna go ahead and close this position off, take it off the table for about 2,600. All right, we've been waiting all day to get a big move like this. We got like 6 risk factors. That's good. Big juicy trade. Nice capitulation, which is good. Okay, so after all said and done, I closed this trade out. We made just shy of $2,500. Okay, even though this could continue moving down for the day, I just locked in 5.6 risk factors. Okay, so that's a nice win for a total of 2,448. So we're up almost 3,000 on the day right now. I wanted to close that trade out and just lock it in because we are meeting up with the Subsquid founder, Marcel. All right, we've been tracking this project for some time. I'm talking about it on YouTube. It's very exciting. You can see on the screen here, we literally have Subsquid listed on Bybit. Coinbase got a listing today and Binance. So I'm meeting up with Marcel, the founder. We're going to do some stuff during the day here and we're going to have some dinner in the afternoon. So I wanted to make sure that I at least locked in some profit on the day. So right now I'm going to eat some lunch, step away from the charts a little bit, let markets develop, and we're going to see if we can take trade number 5. high. All right, so prices moved down pretty significantly since we got out of our position. And what I've noticed is that I don't always look at this indicator, but what I did look at this time is something called an RSI. And so an RSI is basically showing me how overbought or oversold an instrument is. So I'm looking at this trend break here. We have a buy signal here, and notice how we had more overbought here, and then price was actually lower, but the RSI was higher than it was before. That's something called a divergence. And so when you see divergences, it's a really good sign for strength. And so what I did was, once we saw this trend level break over right here, once again, we have one of those fair value gaps. So I tapped in on the overside of this trend into that fair value gap. We're up about $800 on this position, and I'm hoping to just get like a really nice rebound push on this overall sort of sell-off move that we had for the session, and hopefully we can take another really good trade. Right now we're up about $1,100 again, which is good. All right, I'm gonna take a little bit of a break here for my trading session, play some PGA here. Let's call Cosmo and see if he wants to play. Currently is about to break, I hope, up over this level. We're up about 1,200, so I just need that level to break. If we can get a quick pop just up to this, we're kind of done for the day. Maybe that won't be the last trade that I take. That'll kind of lock in the amount that I want to make on the day. It'll get us well over the $4,000 goal. So I can basically watch my trade from here, and then I can just sit and hang out. Trade's running nicely in our direction. We're still waiting for that level to break. I'm gonna hit the gym. This is usually the time in the afternoon where I'll take a break, hit the gym, let any trades sort of finish out, and then I'm gonna come back, get cleaned up, get ready for dinner, and look for some other trades before we head out. It's going to be trade number 5. I usually take right around 5 or 6 trades per day, so maybe I'll take about 2 more after this depending on the outcome. I still wanna hit that $4,000 goal, so we're gonna see if we can make that happen before we head to dinner, and then maybe while we're at dinner, we're in another trade. But for now, it's time to hit the gym. All right, so I just came back from the gym. Unfortunately, we took a $564 loss on this trade. I really wanted to sort of let it completely play out. So we got a really, really nice response off of that level, but we never broke over that high. So I never reduced risk. And then this sort of just trailed down for the rest of the session. So good response, good technical entry. Took a loss on the trade, nice and contained loss. And that's totally fine. Sometimes as traders, that's what we're doing. The goal is to really keep those losses tight and let the wins sort of run. So I did, however, find a new setup here on Ethereum, because Solana started to sort of die price action wise. So we got dinner here in a little bit with the Subsquid team. I did want to potentially get into a trade, and I'll sort of show you what I was thinking. So you'll see price was pushing down consistently. There was a few things that sort of led into this thesis. The first was something called Elliott wave theory. So this is something that I look at where waves will basically create 5 wave patterns. So you'll see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we get a little bit of a push up, pull back down, and then a continuation. This is something called an ABC pattern. This is common of the way trends will develop. Okay, the second thing was this candle pushed, had a massive reaction wick, and then a candle to push up and leave behind this area of support. So I wanted to take an entry in here. Price is sort of chopping around that area, but we're starting to get a little bit of momentum. So I really need this green level to break. That's where I'm going to reduce risk, but I'm hoping that this can run up, maybe trade back into the middle of this session. We got a really good entry on it, and we have a nice tight stop loss. So we really don't need this to move up all that much for it to be a really juicy win. Right now we're up about $500, so another risk factor. So we're hoping that trade number 6 can be a nice trade and get a little pop in price action. So I'm going to be patient with this one, let this come to fruition. And then right now I'm also going to get changed, start getting ready for dinner while this trade runs. So I'm ready for dinner here. Additional good news. Just got a price alert. Price is starting to move. We're up about 1,400. So I'm gonna go ahead and reduce my risk on this. And I'm gonna set my take profit up to these equal highs here, which should get us out for about almost 1 to 5. And then from there, I'm basically just gonna let the trade run while I'm at dinner. So we're gonna go to dinner. We're gonna meet the guys from Subsquid, like I said. Let's see how far up this ETH trade can sort of run for us and close us out for the day, and see if we can get us over that $4,000 mark. We're pretty close with the open profit, but I really wanna follow the trade properly and see if we can maximize profits out of this. So looking good. Time to head out. All right, so taking a look at the last trade of the day while we were at dinner, sort of how it played out. You can see we got our entry off of this really good area and we had an initial reaction, which was really good. Price came down, retested that critical level, but just to show you that sort of displacement after we got that sweep and that push up, that displacement level was the critical area. Price sort of pushed up over that level. So what I did was I set my take profit specifically at that level it was responded off to in this resistance level. I wanted to target equal highs. Okay, which makes sense on a move like this. Okay, and then you can see over time, price traded back up gradually. We're up about 2,200. You can see this closed us out for right around $2,200. And we had a perfect response off of that area, and then price ended up coming back down and actually would have tagged our stop loss. So we actually took profit at a perfect level. All right, so this was long on ETH, adding another win to our day to give us up to a 50% win rate for a total of 2,137, which gets us $1 under $4,500 on the day. Now, if I had been trading while I wasn't out, we could have probably had a bit more. So as sort of a recap on the day, our bias was in the long direction, but after this morning at 9:30, we had a big push down. I wanted to take a short position into this resistance area in this fair value gap, got a nice response, a rollover, and then ended up getting out of this trade for break even. Next trade, same thing. We had a big push down. I wanted to take a short position back into here. This came down, pushed down, and got us out for another break even trade. Then I wanted to basically try to snag this level on an underside retest of this trend. Got in short here, we got support. Then I ended up getting out for a small profit of about $478. And then this ended up selling off throughout the whole day, which I didn't capture on that move. But once we broke underneath this critical level, okay, we got a push. I got short in here. Price came back up, tested the underside of this level again, and then dumped off. Okay, I could have held this for a lot longer, okay, but I thought I was gonna have to leave the house a bit sooner. So I locked in a little over $2,000 on this trade. All right, then after the sell-off, I wanted to take a long position into this high impact area. We got a beautiful entry initially, but we failed to break over that high. So I wanted to let this breathe. This came down and ended up tagging my stop loss for around $500 in loss. And then once again, as we saw on that ETH trade, I was able to tag beautifully into this area as an entry. We just missed getting stopped out. And then this came up and tagged our take profit beautifully for a full profit of about $2,100, which gave us on the day, after all said and done, a 50% win rate, right? So we had a lot of break evens and then a loss and then a small win and two larger size wins for $1 shy of $4,500 in total on the day. Like I said, this isn't necessarily the most glamorous day in the life that you're going to see, but this is me genuinely showing you me taking these decisions in real time and what's possible by mastering these skills and sort of what I do on a day-to-day basis as a day trader. If this was interesting to you or at least valuable, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you want to know when I drop new videos. Okay, you can check out other trading content if you're interested in this type of stuff right here. Right now it's about 1:40, so I'm going to bed. Let me know in the comments if you like this video. Until next time, I will see you all.